What's up, folks? So I'm back with another reaction, and I'm going to react to a System of a Down song for the first time, which feels a bit overdue given that these albums have been up on my music wall since before I began doing reactions, and indeed, I noticed earlier today that I have both Hypnotize and Mesmerize, which both came out 2005 and are still, I think, the last official albums they came out with, but I only have the disc for Hypnotize. I don't know where the disc for Mesmerize went, and we're going to listen to Toxicity, which is from the album of the same name, which is 2001, and I don't have that album anymore, so I don't know what happened to my System of a Down collection, but regardless, we're going to listen to Toxicity because I also have that as like a single on my computer, but I would like to do more System of a Down reactions, and for the immediate time being, for anyone new here, I started reacting to music in a sort of old school DIY way. I began reacting to techno and hardcore because I've been a DJ of those styles for a long time, and in that context it was like, hey, let's put on a techno record and listen to it. Now obviously my channel has grown and I react to all different things now, but generally speaking I react to physical media, which is both in relation to my physical media, CDs and records, of which I have multiple thousand, and then also the collections of other people who become friends of the channel and have shared music with me and allow us to go on deep dives for artists that I don't have. So for the time being, I'm going to react to tunes from Hypnotize because I do actually have that album. But I'm going to try to get replacement copies for both Mesmerize and Toxicity, and at that point we'll be able to go through those albums. But I still think Toxicity, the song, is my favorite System of a Down song of all time. And again, for anyone new here, I don't react to videos because I'm not really equipped to do that. I'm making steps to make that a possibility in the somewhat near future, but for the time being and what I've been doing for the last year and a half or so is reacting to just the audio. So yeah, again, if anyone's new here, it's a bit different flavor. I got nothing against reacting to videos and I plan on doing that at some point, but in any case, when I do reactions to music, I usually just talk about what the lyrics, have come across to me as, and, never in a definitive or authoritative way. But this song, as I think a number of people, music critics and so on have commented, it speaks to the experience of life as a biological being in a complicated and often disordered world, which is to say it's about, from the time you're born and you leave the sacred silence to the time when you go back to sleep or indeed die. It's chaos, it's disorder, it's things that don't always fit together, it's things where, outcomes aren't always predictable. And, using the name disorder, it makes me think of entropy, and, entropy is perhaps better understood as like energy spreading out, but it's still the same concept that over time things tend to break down into less useful and less energetic systems. And so basically it makes me think about like the entropy of someone's individual life, starting with low entropy and then it just increasing more and more as, our organs don't work well as we get older, and, our mind doesn't work as well, and eventually things break down enough that we die. So yeah, it makes me think about the chaos between birth and death, and when put in the context of their larger catalog, I think it speaks to the personal, psychological, and philosophical foundations upon which other songs, including their more political songs, are built. So I think it's a really cool and important song in their catalog, and of all their awesome songs sonically, I do think it's musically my favorite still. So I'll stop talking and we'll listen to it. This is System of a Down, Toxicity, from the album of the same name, 2001.
Software version 7.0, looking at life through the eyes of a tire hub.
It's a powerful line.
Eating seeds is a passion. best time activity. The toxicity of our city, of our city. Yo! What are you on the wall? How are you on disorder? Disorder! No! Somewhere between the sacred silence, sacred silence and sleep. Somewhere between the sacred silence and sleep. Disorder! Disorder! Disorder!
Surge is such a compelling vocalist, not only because he has different vocal flavors that you'll get over the course of a single song, but his humanity like comes through in his performance.
More wood for their fires, love neighbors. Flashlight reveries caught in the headlights of a truck. Eating seeds as a pastime activity. The toxicity of our city, of our city. No! What are you on the wall? How are you on disorder? Disorder! No! Somewhere between the sacred silence, sacred silence and sleep. Somewhere between the sacred silence and sleep. Disorder! Disorder! Disorder!
First time I heard, like, still now, goosebumps. But the first time I heard this, I was like, who the fuck are these guys? I need to know more.
Between the sacred silence and sleep. Disorder! 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 When I became the sun, I shone like a good man's heart. When I became the sun, I shone like a good man's heart.
I've heard that like triple digits, if not, quadruple digits, numbers of times. I still, like, it just, like, it blows my mind every time. It gives me the goosebumps every time. And, like, it's not just, they're famous, I think, for that super fast and hard into smooth and slower and sort of jumping back and forth and constantly changing tempos like that. But I think this song, again, is maybe one of the, like, most perfect examples of it, even though there's many songs you could point to. Because the mellow parts, it's so smooth and pensive and considered, and then the wicked parts are so intense and chaotic and disordered. So I just love the balance of this one. And that last part, I mean, his vocal performance in the whole thing, as I said, like, you get different flavors of his vocals as the track plays out. But that part at the end where he just holds that, like, extends that shout on the final disorder, it's crazy, man. It, like, fires me up every time I hear it. So, yeah, for my sleeping cat and I, shout out to any S.O.A.D fans out there, and do let me know. Like I said, for now, all I have is Hypnotize to go through, but obviously there's some good tunes on that, so yeah, we'll go through any of those, shout it out if there's one you'd like to hear a reaction to. For anyone new to the channel, I would say look at my different playlists, because I'm going through quite literally like 100 or more groups all at the same time, so generally speaking, it takes like a week or more for me to like get around all the different deep dives. So typically speaking, like, the journeys through different bands, it's like one video every 7 to 10 days now. So yeah, in the next week or so, let me know if there's a tune on Hypnotize you'd like to hear. Shout out to anyone who's already been a friend of the channel and is interested in System of a Down. Like I said, I'm much more of a punk rock guy, as you can probably see. I'm a techno guy. I grew up in the 80s. I listened to a lot of synth pop, including a lot of groups that I missed out on back in the day, but I now am going through thanks to friends and champions of the channel. So I'm not huge into metal, but maybe I don't know exactly how it's framed, but maybe you can see I'm a big Iron Maiden fan. I've been listening to Maiden for the last several years, catching up on their stuff. It wasn't until about 2015, 2016
that I took a greater interest. Recently I've been going through Judas Priest, but this is all a long way of saying that I don't know too much about the metal genre, even about System of a Down per se. Like I said, I used to have Toxicity, I'm a big fan of that album. I used to have Mesmerize and Hypnotize. Now I just have Hypnotize. But the point is, I never had their self-titled debut album, so I don't even think I've heard that one. And yeah, ultimately, I know that they've come back a little bit. I know they made a couple songs, like, right around the time when there was the beginning of the conflict in Armenia, which I think, like, the songs were related to. But ultimately, I know they haven't put out a full album since these albums, which is, you know, I get it. Like, personal and professional, issues always have to be taken care of. So I get it. Like, bands that we'd like to see making albums every year, it doesn't always happen that way. But yeah, the fact that they may at some point come back together to make another album would make me very happy. So in any case, let me know what you think of these guys. And Luca, the ridiculously sleepy cat, and I will see you next time. Peace.